Hi everyone and welcome to my craft room. Sorry, apologies, I'm a little bit late. I've been preparing frantically to get all these cards ready for you so that you don't have to watch the boring bits, you can just watch the good bits. But anyway, I'm all ready now, and so hopefully everything will be prepared and organised, which isn't how my last few have been. Today I'm going to be using the Christmas Time Is Here bundle or suite again. This bundle is available to customers from the 1st of November, but if you watch this video and can't wait to get your hands on it, you can put it into your starter kit if you join my team, the Chatty Stampers. And if you like the idea of that, please drop me a message or contact me via my business page. Hey Donna, nice to see you're joining me from the show. I hope it's going well for you. Just bear with me for a minute. I'm using my new mount here and I'm trying to get the comments on my iPad, which isn't behaving itself very well. Can I get them there? No. Can I get them there? Comments. Anyway, let's have a look, a bit of a play with it and we'll see how we go. Anyway, so as I say, thanks for joining me everyone. It's not really going to help me here. I should have worked those comments out, but anyway, it's all good. We'll get going and see how we go. Anyway, as I say, I'm going to be using the Christmas Time Is Here bundle, which is, as I said, available to customers from the 1st of November, just for the month of November. So if you love it, grab it quick. And I'm using my new mount. So here we go. It's all above me and not to the side, and it's going to be great. Anyway, so I'm going to make 3 cards today. The first 2 are new, and the third one is a rejig of the one I made. iPad will have to be portrait mode. Oh, thank you, Donna. I don't know if I can turn it. Oh, yeah, I can. Awesome. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Is it going to swish around for me? Come on, guys. Anyway, that's just looking sideways now. Anyway, all good. We won't worry about that for now. So if I missed your comments, I apologise. I'll get back to them after. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to start, as I say, 2 new cards and a rejig of the one I did last week, because watching the replay I realised that it was probably not a good day for me to go live, given that we had some family crises. And as much as I always say that stamping and card making is my therapy, some days you just don't need to do it, or you shouldn't do it. Anyway, that's a lesson. Okay, so we'll start with the first card. Here we have the stamp sets that come with the bundle and the dies. So we'll be using all of those in these cards. So the inspiration for these cards, and I know I'm safe in saying this because she doesn't watch my videos, is my son's fiance, who basically said to me when she saw this bundle that it was really, really nice and she liked it, but wasn't it a shame that it didn't come in Australian colours? All the colours were very, Northern Hemisphere sort of reds and things that, that you associate with winter in the north. So I thought, oh well, what I'll do is I'll try and recreate some of the cards from our wonderful artisan team, and I'll put them in some Australian colours. I'm just bringing that down a little bit closer. This is the first one, and hopefully you can see that nice and clearly. I've instead of going for the red berries, I've gone for some yellow ones that might sort of be sort of Banksia flowers or something like that. And I've got the greens, the dark greens and the light greens, which we all associate with Christmas in Australia. Just let me move that a little bit to the centre because I've changed the orientation. Still getting used to my my brand new fantastic mount. Okay, so let's get started and we'll just work our way through this one. So what I've got is my normal card base size, which is 8 1/4 by 5 3/4 and scored in the middle to make a card base. So I use Whisper White thick cardstock for my card bases because they're nice. It's nice and strong and it stands up nicely, and it's just got a lovely structure to it. So we don't need that one for the moment, we just put that aside. Then to do that, I've also got a piece of Whisper White, normal Whisper White cardstock, which I've popped through the subtle 3D embossing folder, just to give it that lovely sort of parchment look that folder gives. I don't know if you can actually see it if I move it around the sun. It's actually really nice, and it's one of my favourite embossing folders at the moment. So grab that one if you like that sort of parchment vintage sort of look. So I've got a piece of that in Whisper White, and it's 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around to my card base, so it just shows a tiny amount of the white edge all the way around. Put that aside as well because you don't actually need that either. So what do we need, I hear you say? You need some Whisper White cardstock, and on that you need to stamp 2 of the images of this beautiful detailed rose and associated foliage in black cardstock, in black ink, sorry. And so I've done 2 of those. So I'm not going to ask you to sit through watching me colour these in because I'm actually going to use the stamps that come with the stamp set, and it has all the pieces, bits and pieces that you need to colour in your beautiful floral arrangement already in there. And I'm going to be using some colours that you might not necessarily associate with this stamp set. So what I'm going to start with is some Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to put that, I'm going to make the leaves Pear Pizzazz. This part of the stamping takes a little bit of practice, so I suggest you grab the stamp set and have a bit of a go. It's just that you have to know which part of the flower or which part of the foliage actually goes where. But if you take note of where the leaves are, you'll soon work it out. It's not too bad. So this one here, once I've got it stamped up, you can see, oh, my son's home, you can see it's got 3 leaves, like in a sort of all pointing out in slightly different directions. So if you look at our image, we've got 3 leaves over this side on this top corner here. So all you need to do is find where the leaves line up, and then just let me get my head into shot if I'm not, then line them up as best you can with the image and stamp. Oh, hang on, as a photopolymer stamp I should actually have a little piece of foam. Bear with me, I'll try and find. I use the foam out of my Stamparatus, and that just gives the photopolymer stamps a little bit better coverage. Okay, so then we've got another one here. Okay, so this one's got a couple of pine needles and a leaf. So we have to search in our pattern for that. And so that one, it goes over here. Thank you for joining me, everyone who has. I can't see any comments and I can't see who's joined. So I will thank you later. Wendy and Chrissy Ann I can see. Thanks for joining me, guys. Okay, so this one goes here. So as I said, again, we will line up our leaf and our pine needles and stamp. And look, to be honest, it doesn't matter too much if you go a little bit off out of the lines. I actually quite like the look of something that's a little bit more casual. Let's face it, Christmas in Australia is, as a rule, pretty casual. Okay, so the last one that we're going to be doing in our Pear Pizzazz is this one. And again, I can see that there is a leaf and 2 lots with pine needles on either side of it, and obviously that goes in there. So I'm just lining it up as best I can, hopefully not getting my head in shot. Although I did have my hair done today, so I am regrowth free and 20 years younger, if you guys believe me. Hey Lisa, thanks for joining me. I'm glad you caught me live. You saw me mucking around earlier today trying to work out how I could get 2 images happening. Unfortunately it wouldn't work because there was too much feedback. And don't know if you realise this, but you can't turn your microphone off when you're recording, which I suppose makes sense because you want your microphone on, but I thought if I could turn it off on one of my devices it might stop some of that feedback, but surprise, surprise, you can't. They must have thought of that beforehand. Okay, so that's the Pear Pizzazz. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the little berries. I'm going to do them in Mango Melody. I think that's really, really nice, and as I say, looks a bit like a wattle or something like that. That's Australia. And again, you have to sort of work out where your image fits best. So this one's, once I've got it inked up, you can see it's got lots and lots. It's quite wibbly, isn't it, this thing? I know every time I stamp it seems to wobble, so I'll try and be a little bit less vigorous in my stamping. Anyway, so this one's got lots of berries and they're sort of in a W shape, so that obviously goes here. And again, lining it up with them as best you can. The good thing with the clear photopolymer stamps is you can see exactly, you can see through your stamp where you need to be, which is great. Okay, so we've got 2 smaller berry bunches here. One of them sort of looks just like a blob. That's very botanical of me, isn't it? A blob. So that one goes here. Yep. And the other one looks like a longer blob. And I reckon that one goes here. And as you can see, we're colouring in our image in no time flat, which is really, really good. And there's one more. This one's sort of like a composite blob, also a botanical term, I'm sure. Oh, hey Janice, thanks for joining me. Glad I'm doing... Oh yeah, I love this set. I think I'm going to use it all year round, and I think you probably agree that when I get these cards made, they could be used with any sentiment. It's nothing worse than spending money on a set, finding that it's a one-trick pony and you never use it again. So I'm sure we've all got those sitting in our pile of shame, waiting for the next Christmas or the next Easter or the next whatever. Okay, so that's the berries and the leaves. We're going to do these little pine cones. I'm going to do those in soft suede. Yeah, it is a bit wobbly, Lisa, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Is it my wobble? And my table's never wobbled before. It's this new boot thingy. Maybe I need to tighten it up a little bit. I didn't want to over tighten it, but maybe it's a bit loose. It is definitely a work in progress getting used to it. And I hope it doesn't wobble permanently because it was, yeah, cost money. You like to get your money's worth, don't you? As we've just discussed. Okay, so I've got soft suede for my little pine cones. I'm just going with pine cones as being pine cones because we have pine trees in Australia, so we have pine cones. They are one of my 2 dogs' favourite toys during the day. They love to chew up pine cones and yeah, create a horrible mess with them. Okay, so that's that one. And it's just the flower now. So traditionally I think with this set the flowers have been what? Cherry cobbler, what's the other one? Anyway, strong pinks and things anyway. This one, and bear with me, I'm actually going to do it in soft sea foam. And I think when you do it in soft sea foam, the flower takes on the appearance of almost like a succulent. And I know how popular people collecting succulents is. So I actually, if you just have a look at this when I've done it, you'll see what I mean. Now, to be honest, it really wouldn't matter what colour I coloured this rose because it is going to be in large part and this is going to break your heart, covered over anyway by our sentiment. Okay, so what do you think of that? It does have sort of a succulent-y sort of look to it, doesn't it? So that's all coloured in. I'll just get rid of some of these stamps. Now obviously you're going to have to colour in both, but I'm not going to make you sit through that because I've already done one. So you do actually need the two, but I've already done one. And I'm just going to cut that one that I've just stamped in for you. I'm going to just put that quickly through the Big Shot. And I'm not going to bring the Big Shot onto the table because, goodness me, you'd all get very, very seasick, I reckon. I'm just going to pop this through. And then we can get on with it. Yeah, so my new mount got a bit of use from my youngest overnight. He was doing a project for uni, and he needed to make a video of some experiment or whatever he was doing. So I got a little knock on the door because as a teenager he was starting study after I'd already gone to bed. Knock on the door saying, "Mum, can I use your new mount thing to make a video for uni?" So I said, "I've got my money's worth already. May even try tax deducting it." Yeah, that's what I thought, Wendy. Green and gold are the Aussie colours, or Brazilian, or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, as I said, my son's fiance Izzy said it'd be nice to see it in some Aussie colours, and that's what I've come up with. Okay, so what we're going to do here, and this is going to break your heart as well, because I know it broke mine, is I'm going to be mounting these two images on top of each other, but to have one of them sort of poking out at both ends, I'm actually going to cut one of them in half and pop it in underneath. So obviously you're not going to see it, you know, cut in half underneath, but it will sort of poke out at either end because we'll make it that little bit longer. So basically I'm going to hold it sort of so it's lengthways and basically cut from pine cone to pine cone, if that makes sense. There. Okay, so we've got two halves. Did everyone sigh or intake breath because I was cutting what I'd just created? But anyway, so what I'm going to do is put it the other way around so that those leaves are at this end, and just pop them underneath just so you can see a little bit of the second one sort of popping out from underneath the first one. And to be honest, you don't even see where you've cut it, because if you place it properly you can actually see, you can actually hide those cuts behind. And I'm going to glue it into place. Just when I like what I see, I'll glue it into place just so that it's there. And as you know, with our glue, I can fiddle it a little bit and make sure I am really happy with the final position. Okay, so there's one end. Okay, and this is the other end. Okay, so you see some berries and some pine needles and stuff up behind our front image. That just sort of makes the image that little bit longer, but it also adds a little bit of 3D effect as well. So what do we think of that? I think that's quite nice. Huh, she says herself. Okay, so really we're just assembling now. Actually, I might leave that dark surface there because it'll be nice and easy for you to see my, you might even see the beautiful 3D effect of the subtle folder, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, it's a really nice one and I'm using it a lot at the moment. Okay, so in Pear Pizzazz cardstock I have cut myself this cute little lattice that comes with the bundle in the dies, and I just think that's just really nice as a background. So I'm going to pop that on my card down here in the bottom right hand corner. Oh, small amounts of glue. julienne. And just pop that in there. Grab another piece of paper. Just firm that down just so I don't get glue all over me. Trying not to wobble. But we are. Definitely have to do something about that. It might be my table wobbling up through my mount. We'll see. See what I can arrange. Oh, don't get stuck. Oh, you pain in the bottom. Stuck to my piece of paper, didn't it? Hang on. Let's get it back in the right position. And using a different piece of paper. Just quickly. Oh no, don't do it to me again. Too much glue, Julienne. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. It'll stick. Cool. Okay, then I'm going to grab my beautiful flowers that I've made. I actually pop it that way, I think. Yes, that way. I'm going to pop them up on dimensionals just for a bit of 3D happening. If I can find my dimensionals. I had them for a class the other day and I haven't popped them back where I usually put them. Where are you guys? I've got little ones coming out everywhere. I want big ones. Here we go. Here's my big ones. Okay, so I'm just going to pop some dimensionals on here in strategic places. I.e. just around. And we'll pop that on our, oh, I should have actually put it on our, oh, anyway. You guys know I do things out of order, don't you? Oh. Let's get these off. I vacuumed my craft room the other day and my vacuum bag was full of dimensional papers. It was like something out of, I don't know, like something out of, I'd had some weird giant dandruff or something. I'm sure everyone is the same. Okay, so we'll just pop that. Not want to cover over our little lattice too much, but sort of centrally. And we'll pop that one down. Okay. Alright, I'm going to pop that on my base card now because I've got a little bit out of order. But I'll just pop some glue on the base card. As you can tell, this is a landscape design card that I've got here. It's a little bit different to the normal portraits designs that I usually do. There we go. That's better. It's not going anywhere now. Okay, so last thing we need to do is our sentiment. So what I've got is, out of the dies as well, there's this really cute sentiment label. I've got one in Mango Melody and one in Whisper White. And what I'm going to do is, again, the theme of this card, I'm going to cut this Mango Melody one in half. And I'm going to mount it behind the Whisper White one, just peeking out a tiny bit from the... How could you be working 1 minute and not the next? Oh, just peeking out from behind, just so that we get a little bit of feature colour there. That's one end. Just hold it till it sets a little bit. And the other end. So if with this one, if you position it properly, you can again hide the cut behind the white, so it just looks like it was meant to be. Okay, how's that? We'll get a little bit of a highlight around our Whisper White. Just going to do this one with the Merry Christmas from the set, but you know, as we've mentioned with this stamp set, you can do it in you know, you could make it a birthday card, you could make it an anniversary card. It could be any sort of card that you want. Thankfully, I think this one will last us all year round. But this one's going to be Merry Christmas, because that's what we're looking at in front of us, isn't it? All too quickly. So just in some black, just lining it up with the edges of the, with the curly edges of the label. Oh, it's a bit I didn't line it up as well as I would have liked, but anyway, that's all right. It's a sort of a decorative Merry Christmas anyway. And I'm just going to glue that. I think we'd have too many dimensionals if I didn't put this on dimensionals as well. Just going to glue that, and as I say, it's going to break your heart because I'm going to cover over that beautiful central flower. Hey Elizabeth, thanks for watching. How are you going? Are you up north yet? I think you are, aren't you? Anyway, hope you're going well. Come back to me soon. Cool. Alright, so there is my Australian Christmas, sort of, Christmas time is here card, which I think is really, really cute and inspired by my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. Well, that's hopefully not too soon, but anyway, nobody wants to be a mother-in-law. Well, I don't. I suppose some people do. Anyway, okay, so that's that one. I think that's really nice. I could sort of stamp something on the inside, but, you know, that's all good. We'll do that later. Okay, card number 1. Oh, in this one I actually popped some ribbon because I just wanted to show the ribbon up behind there. So I've forgotten to do it with this one, but I think it adds a little bit extra. I don't think it's absolutely needed, but it adds a little bit something if you've got some ribbon there that matches. Cool. All right, so that's card number 1. Thank you, Wendy. Glad you like it. Okay, card number 2. What is card number 2? Okay, card number 2. Okay, card number 2 is, again, something a little bit different with the stamp set because, you know, as we know, we're going to get caught with these stamp sets long after the Christmas period is over. So I've done, you can see I've got ink all over my fingers. Anyway, I've done this one here, basically with the same beautiful blossom, but I've only the same beautiful bouquet, but I've only used the bare edges of it coming in around the edge of the card, and then I've coloured them in, and this time I've used blends, but thankfully you'll see I'm not going to. I've done a little bit of advance so that you don't have to watch me. But anyway, back to basics. We've got again a card base in Whisper White thick. 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, scored in the middle to give the basic card base. I've got a panel in, again, Whisper White, same process as the previous card, that pokes, it has an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Yeah, all the way around, so you've got an 1/8 of an inch pin sneaking around. And then with this top one, we're going to get our black. And we're just going to get rid of that because I don't want ink everywhere. We're just going to ink up the edges of our set, the edges of our stamp. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. And come into it all the way around our card, our Whisper White. So sort of here. Okay. And then sort of just picking different parts of the edge just to give your border a little bit of interest and difference. So this one I'm going to go sort of there. Yeah. And then let's go for this. I'm going to use this end of it next. Remember to stay in camera. Sort of go this one. Now, don't go too far in because I don't want a lot of these flowers. I just want the basic foliage and berries and, you know, those sorts of things. So a little bit more of that one. So bringing it along the edge at the top. we go. What haven't we used? A bit more here with some berries. And a final bit, I've gone in a tiny little bit there, so I might go here where that sort of sticks out, and we've got some berries and some pine cones and pine needles and stuff. Bring that one in there. Okay, so we've got a border made of the foliage and hopefully not too much of the flower from our beautiful big stamp. Then it's just a matter of colouring in. Now you're going to say to me, Julianne, what are you doing to me? Why are you going to make me colour in all those individual pine needles and stuff? And I say to you, there's no need to colour them in individually unless, you know, that's what you like to do. But personally, I'm not that, haven't got that much patience. So what you can actually do with the pine needles and things is you just generally colour in the whole area. So what I'll do is I'll just start and you can see what I mean. So this is my dark, these are my blends, this is my dark old olive. What I'm going to do is get the leaf, and I'm going to give the leaves like a dark central sort of veiny bit. Trying not to go over my berries because I want those that nice mango melody again. Then I will get my light old olive, which has had so much use that it's sort of not colouring very well. I need to order a new one. Sometimes you get a colour that you just love using again and again and again. So just blend that in, blend it into the dark centre that you've got for your leaf. And then, as I say, trying to avoid the berries wherever you can. Just do the same there and try and blend it in. Now, I'm not putting a lot of effort and precision into this because then I'm going to get my colour lifter, and this is purely up to you, of course. I'm going to get my colour lifter and actually lift some of that edge colour away anyway, just so the light colour sort of continues to graduate out to the edge. Now, yeah, somebody you give this card to may not even realise you've gone to such trouble to do that, but we will. And I'll let you have a little look of what effect that is once it, as we know, the colour lifter takes a little time to take effect sometime. And then with my mossy meadow, I've got my light mossy meadow here, and this is what I was saying about, you know, colour the whole area. So let's grab a pine needle area. So here it's got lots and lots of pine cones. So there's a couple of stems there, and then basically I'm just going to colour the area. You know, keep it sort of spiky in your colouring. But you know, it doesn't matter too much if you go over the lines, as long as you've got a general feeling of spikiness. And to be honest, look, that I think that looks just fine. Better than fine. I think it looks great. Hey Angie, how are you, my darling? Hope you're well. Okay, so that's the leaf. I'll show you the leaf. It's sort of, the white has sort of done its thing. So you've actually got some dark, and it graduates right through to, can you see that? Through to the very light edges. So I love that colour lifter. I think that's great. And as I say, the pine needles aren't the neatest things in the world, but hey, when are pine needles ever neat? So then I'm going to use the dark mango melody for the berries. And again, you know, just fitting the whole feel of it. That's just, I'm sort of just, you know, giving it a feel of mango melody really. And I'm going to use, what should I use? And in the same sort of feeling as the first card, the flowers where they show up, I'm actually using dark mint macaron. And you will actually see it this time, though I won't, because this won't get covered over. yeah, and the brown, the bronze, is what I'm going to do with the pine cones. So I'm not going to make you watch all of that, because here's one I've almost finished. I've just got to do a couple of flowers and a couple of pine cones, I think, from memory. So mint macaron for the flowers, and again it makes them look a bit like succulents. Yeah, Wendy, it does. It's quite amazing. It takes a little while to kick in, the colour lifter, and you can't be afraid of using it, because you've got to sort of put it on quite thickly. Is that the word? Yeah, quite thick. Actually, the brush end is actually even better. You sort of get more and more of it if you use the brush end as well. And I think once I do this one with the pine needle-y thing happening, I think that's it done. Okay, what do we all think of that little beauty? Is that nice or what? It's not going to jump out and grab you by the eyes. It's going to, it's more of a subtle thing happening. So I really like that. I hope you do too. Okay, so from here it's just easy. Just basically pop your card onto your card base, like so, and then we'll do our sentiment. And again, I've used the Merry Christmas, but it could be anything, couldn't it, really? Congratulations, get well soon, anything really, birthday. I don't know that's a particular birthday look, but it's sort of, and it's even sort of a masculine sort of card as well, isn't it? But I'll use the Merry Christmas. And so actually, I've used the soft suede as well, just to keep the sort of earthy nature of this card going. Trying to get it straight this time. There we go. It's a bit of Merry Christmas happening there. And I thought with the other one I added some of the beautiful gold sparkly enamel dots. I'll do that again. Take my pick tool and just grab a couple or three. Usually it's three, I don't know why. Just seems to be what I do. Does everyone else always seem to go for threes or fives or odd numbers like that? And just a tiny little one. These are pesky little blighters, these ones. They just don't want to go. There. Cool. On the other one as well, I've put a little bow, just because what's a card without a bow? But anyway, I don't think I need one on this one. I think that's just nice the way it is. We won't overdo it. Sometimes more is not more. Okay, get rid of those. So they are, where are they? They are the four cards that I came up with to try and give ourselves a little bit of an Aussie Christmas green and gold thing happening with the Christmas Time Is Here bundle. And I quite like those, I've got to say. Quite like them. What's Wendy say? It looks nice. Yeah, I do. I like the red berries. They sort of stand out a little bit more, but then that's a petal pink flower on that one. So I went sort of more sort of green and gold with that one. But yeah, so go with it. Keep, experiment. Go mad. Anyway. Okay, so that's the new cards that I have created that I wanted to show you today. What I'm going to do now, and if you wish to hang around, I would be more than happy if you hang around, is try and make, as I said, my last video was just not, my head was just not in it, and it was a bit of a disaster. So what I'll do is I will make this one again and basically show you how to make this one. Actually, I'm going to do it slightly different, but I'm going to make it slightly easier. But hang around if you just want to. I'll make this for you. Okay, cool. So with this card, we have a cherry cobbler. So we've gone back to our traditional reds and golds. A cherry cobbler card base. The original one I've done portrait, up and down closing. I just happened to have a piece of cherry cobbler that opened sideways, so I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So basically this is a card base that opens that way. It's going to be that way. But whatever cherry cobbler you happen to have lying around. I've got a piece of Whisper White, and that has been cut exactly 1 inch smaller. So it's 1/2 inch border all the way around to my piece of cherry cobbler. So I think you'll find that it's 3 1/8 by 4 3/4. And then I have a piece of the glorious Christmas Time Is Here Designer Series paper. And that has been cut so it's just got 1/8 of an inch peeking of that white peeking around the edge. So it's hardly any border at all. So that's the 3 pieces of cardstock. Then on the original card I actually did on Whisper White I did gold embossed the beautiful flower, so hopefully you can see that sparkling in the sunlight. Yeah, so I gold embossed, and then I watercoloured the various colours with my aqua pen. So I think I did, and somebody can remind me of the colours. I think I did, because we did discuss whether I'd used watercolour paper. So I didn't use watercolour paper, and here is one that I have gold embossed, because I didn't know how gold embossing would go with watercolour paper. But it goes okay, it's fine, it's just got a little bit of texture to it. But unfortunately I didn't think that it would go very well with the white that I've put as that layer on the card itself. So I thought the cream and the white, nah, didn't really do it for me. So I'm sticking to my white, and I'm sticking to my Old Olive. So about you guys, when I watercolour, I grab some ink on a block, and I grab my aqua pen, and I just go mad. And this is really nice with the embossing, the gold heat embossing, because the gold still shows through, and it acts as a little sort of a barrier, a little fence, to stop your watercolour sort of going where it's not supposed to go. So basically I'm not going to do all this one, because if you watched last week's disaster you've seen me do it already. So basically what we do is watercolour all those. I then watercoloured the rose itself in cherry cobbler ink, the same sort of way, and with blends coloured in all the berries also in a cherry cobbler blend. So you can see where that headed to here. So then what I've done, I've got a couple of versions of that card. One where I actually just left it as is. So this is the one I actually made in the video. I actually just left it as it sort of attached that with as it was. The second one, and what I'm going to, the second one, the one I showed you here, I've actually cut the flower, the main flowers out of the Designer Series paper. So you can see here the design. This is the image from the Designer Series paper, and I've just used the dies to cut it. The dies fit perfectly. It's just exactly the same image. So what you can do is you can cut this flower out, and then I've actually set it up on dimensionals just to give the card a little bit of extra oomph. But what I'm going to do this time, I'm not going to bother, I'll continue with that later, since you've already seen that. I'm actually going to use this on this card. I'm going to set it up on dimensionals so you can see every version of this card basically with various degrees of bling, so to speak. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will layer this one up. Apologies if that's confusing. It made perfect sense in my head. Okay, so we'll pop our white panel straight over our cherry cobbler. Then our designer series paper. And I must say I'm not overly wrapped in that other side of this particular paper, so it's sort of, that's good, because it's often breaks your heart when you have to choose which side, but for me there's actually no competition. This side is just beautiful. Okay, what I'm going to do is, rather than using the one that I've gold embossed, I'm just going to use this one straight from the designer series paper. I'm going to grab some dimensionals. They've disappeared again. Ay, ay, ay. Dimensionals that have disappeared again. Okay, new pack. Just pop them on the back of this. Okay. Oh, I've actually got another one of the beautiful lattices. I'll actually pop that on first, she says. Again with some glue on the back. Pop that here, just so it overlaps the edge of your cardstock a little bit. Hopefully not too much glue this time. I'm not going to have a disaster. Pop that on there. Now I'm going to put the image on. And I think if you look on Pinterest at the moment for all the designs that people have used with this set, most of them are actually cut from the designer series paper. Very few people have actually done anything where they've done any stamping. That just goes to show how beautiful this designer series paper is. So pop that one on there, like that. And I've got a little sentiment box here, which is also from the die set for this die set, this set. And I'm going to just use the same one I used last time, which was this May Christmas Fill Your Heart with Warmth and Love, which is quite nice. It's what we could all use, I suppose. Going to do that one in black ink. Move that out of the way. Sorry, I'm just going to bring that a little bit closer because I can't quite see past my camera. Still getting the hang of my new setup. Doesn't seem too bad. There we go. I'm going to set this up on dimensionals also, but obviously don't want too many dimensionals there. We don't want dimensional build up. So I'm just going to place them there and about central. And pop that one in there. It doesn't cover over too much of our beautiful lattice, or too much of our beautiful flowers, or too much of our beautiful paper. There we are. I might just pop some glue under there, just because that's going to annoy me. Here we are. A little bit crooked. Just force that a little bit straighter. Okay, alright, so I've got a panel for inside. And there's another version of our beautiful cherry cobbler Christmas card with the designer series paper. How's that? There we are. There we are. So you could pop a little sentiment, put that Merry Christmas or something inside there. But there. So that's the third version of this card that I've created. I'm not quite sure which one I like best. These two are from last week. This is the one where I've just watercoloured the whole image and left it as that. This one I've watercoloured the image and added the flower from the designer series paper on dimensionals. And this one I've just gone all out and just used the image from the designer series paper. So, you know, depending on how much trouble you wanted to go to, you've got three very similar but different, I suppose. Different but similar, similar but different. Different cards, different versions of that one. I think I like all of them. I think actually this is my favourite. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to show you guys today. Thank you so much for your kind words and your hearts. Yeah, so basically today we've done, what have we done? Done 3, that's good for me. We did a traditional Christmas card in the cherry cobbler and gold using the designer series paper, and we've gone a bit Aussie with the other two, using the greens and the golds and sort of part of the stamp rather than all of the stamp, which I think is really, really nice. I think this is my favourite. Which one's your favourite, guys? I think I like this one best. I think so. Yeah, I think I like that one. That's cute too. Anyway, put in the comments which one you like best, and we'll see how we go. Thanks for joining me. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. As I say at the end of all my videos, if you haven't got an active demonstrator and you like what you see, please contact me about either joining my team, grabbing a catalogue, or you know, placing an order. I'd be more than happy to help you. Obviously for Australian residents only. As again, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you all next week. Okay, bye guys.